So it's almost 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday, and I've decided I cannot go to sleep until I say something to the men in my life. I'm so thankful for the many friends I have and the dudes I get to hang out with, and I've just got something I've got to share with you guys. So today I'm on the treadmill at the House of Inspiration called the YMCA, and I'm trudging along at about 2.5 miles an hour, maybe a 2.0 incline, and at the same time, I won a game of solitaire. And after I won that game, I found myself looking around for someone to come see my screen. Do you see what I just did here? I didn't find anybody, but I thought about this. I refuse to believe that life is a game of solitaire, that all of us are on separate treadmills, playing our own little game of solitaire, clicking cards around in hopes of winning some game by ourselves. I refuse to believe that that's what life is. That's the heart behind why I started this thing called The League, for intentional men that want to, on purpose, meet together with other men to have teammates in life. There's not one specific goal of our meetings. It's really just to have teammates who help us accomplish the things in life that we believe are important. It's to have the kind of conversations that everyone needs to have about life. How are we trying to move forward in career? How are we trying to become better husbands? How do we raise our kids? How do I become a stronger man? These conversations that all men need to have. I simply want to create a space for great men to have great conversations. So I want to leave you with two thoughts in this video. Number one, do not try to be a strong man. Instead, be strongly connected. Oftentimes it feels like as a man, I've got to prove myself to people. I've got to be great at something. I've got to be talented. I've got to be wealthy. What would happen if instead of putting all of our energy towards somehow creating an individual dynasty, what if instead we create something great together? What if I become more connected to people in my life who want to help me accomplish things? I know for me, I look at my life and I can boldly say with a smile on my face that I have done nothing that I deserve the credit for. That's not a down arrow of a statement. I don't feel bad about that at all. I just realize that that's what life is. Life is a team sport, and the things that can be accomplished together are really, really powerful. So I want to thank all the men in my life who have done things for me that make people think I'm a strong man. I'm not a strong man. I just have people like you in my life, and that makes me appear to be strong. And I'm excited about what more we can do. We're about to release a book in about 2 weeks, In the Game, that many of you watching this video were part of that. 37 of us men decided, let's do something together. And so I'm excited about that. But I wonder what else could happen, not just with me and you, but with you and other people in your life, if we decide to do life as a team. So here is the single most important requirement for being on a team. Just show up. Just show up. I know for me, there are meetings that I'm a part of, and sometimes I'm like, ugh, who needs me here? What do I have to offer? There's meetings that I am leading that while I'm driving there, I'm thinking, what do I have to offer anybody? Listen, it's about showing up. No one really needs us to be talented, but everyone needs us to be present. And when you simply show up, there's so much that happens in just the showing up. There's something that happens between people when you simply shake hands, when you simply care about people, when you think about people. The problem with not showing up is that the other option is to be isolated. And there's something that feels comfortable about that, except that's where the danger is. We all know that in isolation, everything that we don't want from life comes rushing in at us. But if we'll show up with people, even when we feel weak or inadequate, that's when the things we really want from life, the things we really want to experience, become closer. So baseball season is about to start, and my favorite thing about in baseball is watching like a walk-off hit where there's a dog pile at home plate. And as a man, here's what I believe. I believe we can have our own dog piles at home plate. It looks different, yes. Maybe it's at a Denny's after a great conversation. Maybe it's on the disc golf course where we just played and had a lot of fun together. But I believe that walk-off moments is not just for Major League Baseball players out there on the diamond, that walk-off moments can happen in our lives when we choose to simply show up together and do something together. There's a second thing that I want to say to all the men in my life, and this is just on my heart. Stop trying to fix yourself. Stop trying to fix yourself. Stop trying to fix yourself. Maybe you're like me, and it's like from the youngest of ages in our culture, we're programmed, don't mess up. It might feel like you're one of the moles in the whack-a-mole game at the fair or at the arcade, and the goal is to not get hit. The goal is to not be seen. The goal is to not be found as someone who messed up. I remember the feeling I had as a kid going to the library at school. The teachers would put so much fear into you, as if in the library there's like this death angel that's lurking. And if you touch the wrong book at the wrong time, or if you crinkle a page, and there's going to be so much trouble that's going to fall upon you. And so the library was a place of such fear. And I recall in third grade, I lost a library book. And that thought just loomed over my head. When are they going to find out? And finally the day came where I'm sitting in the classroom. I can still in my mind see this classroom. It's amazing how the negative moments in life really stand out so strongly. But I recall the teacher in the front of the room call my name, which I never wanted my name called. I just want to be invisible. She called my name and asked about the book. And I didn't know at the time that you could plead the fifth, but that's what I did. I didn't say a word. She questioned me like a lawyer questioning a witness that was sitting in the box. And I was so nervous and I was so afraid and I didn't know what to say. So I said nothing, but I lost the book. I don't know about you, but it's easy for us as men to live our whole life wondering if something we do is going to disqualify us from being a good man, a man that's counted on, a man that's respected. And we can literally wake up every day wondering, am I going to disqualify myself today? In one of our league meetings at Denny's, I recall a conversation that happened, and Derek was there and Ty was there. Derek was a big-time ball player near Detroit growing up, and he said, when I played basketball, I could do nothing wrong. I was the top player, and I could, it didn't matter if I made a mistake, didn't matter how many shots I missed. I could get injured during a play, and the coach would consider putting someone else in, and he said, I would just motion to the coach and say, no, I'm staying. He said, nothing I did was wrong. But then Ty also said, I was the sixth player on my team. I was a pretty good player. And the coach he'd put me in, but he would say, Ty, I'm going to trust you and put you in there. Now don't do anything to ruin that trust. Can you imagine how Ty played? With this lurking thought over his head, Ty, you're getting a chance, but don't do anything to blow it. I feel like so much of my time as a man was part of me wanting to really live, really lead. I wanted to square my shoulders and I wanted to have something to say to the world. I wanted something to offer to the world. The problem was the other 80% of me was terrified of messing up. Whether it's when I was a young pastor, am I going to say the wrong thing? How do I handle conflict? If when I was a teacher, when am I going to say something and some student's going to get mad and they're going to tell their parent and they're going to tell the principal's going to call me. I'm going to be like, I don't know what to do. Or I was a sports official. When am I going to make a wrong decision? And it felt like as a man, I was living on eggshells, and it was so hard to be bold in who I was. I feel like a lot of men get stuck in a place like this. It seems like a man can live his whole life and he only measures himself by what's wrong with him. He never even knows what's right in him. And this just isn't the man's fault. It's that the people around us sometimes are really quick to point out the things in us that need to be tweaked. But sometimes the people around a man never tell him, you're a good man. The number of times I've sat across from good men, and after 2 or 3 or 4 conversations, just look at that guy and say, you know what, Mitch? You're a really good man. And every time it brings tears to their eyes. And when I see those tears, I know what it means. It's not so much that I said that to him. It's that maybe nobody else has said that to him. And it breaks my heart that good men can give their best, but sometimes they're surrounded by people that only see their worst and never see their great effort, never see their sacrifice. They're quick. People can be quick to point out how someone maybe misses the mark a little bit. But in our society, in our culture, even in our marriages, sometimes we fail to see the love and devotion and the sacrifice that people offer every day. And so I want to say to the good man watching this video right now, you're a good man. You're probably a lot like me in that most of my life, kryptonite was always probably a fingertip away. Kryptonite was always around me. And most of my life I was Clark Kent, and every now and then I was Superman. And you're probably the same way. But maybe in your life you found yourself thinking a lot about your kryptonite. And the thoughts you have maybe been to beat yourself up about it. Maybe the thoughts you've had is that I can't wear my cape until I fix this. Maybe instead of trying to fix yourself, maybe instead you, like me and any other good man, can put your cape on and focus on a purpose that's bigger than yourself. So those are the 2 things I wanted to say to all the men in my life. Stop trying to fix yourself. Instead, focus on a greater purpose. And instead of trying to be strong, be strongly connected. I want to say to all my friends, let's keep charging up the hill, chasing after meaningful living together. Let's keep being William Wallace's men. And let's stand shoulder to shoulder and moon the evil empire. The things that we can do together is really exciting, but it requires all of us to simply show up, share good ideas, and then take action on good ideas, and then see what happens. My friend, the world needs you. More so, the world needs us to act together.